Lately, I feel like I'm revisiting through the quiet in my mind and finding the old feelings and embracing them and feeling them and screaming them, and it's liberating.
Hello, friend. Happy New Year. You are about to drop into one of those conversations that can feel like sitting in a warm kitchen after something holy has just arrived. And this episode starts with morning breathwork infused with Reiki. And then this circle of incredible women opens up in the most real and beautiful and tender and funny and brave ways. You're going to hear what it sounds like when someone stops trying so hard, when someone lets the rage move through instead of getting trapped, when grief and joy sit at the same table and nobody needs to fix it, when a woman remembers she is not her roles, she is not her productivity, she is not the performance, she is a living, breathing human with a soul and a body and a truth. There are moments that made me tear up, for sure, moments that made me laugh, giggle, moments that honestly changed me in that very moment. It is one of these episodes that will expand your capacity to feel good, and not by bypassing the hard, but by letting the hard be held in community and sisterhood. So here we go. Just like climbing into a circle with us. Let this wash over you. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to The Authentic Creative, where we expand our capacity to feel good, one deep breath, one bold choice, and maybe a little bit of magic at a time. I'm Siri Baruch Thornton, healer, creative, and lifelong explorer of all things energy, self-expression, and joy. With over 26 years of experience in Reiki, Akashic Records, and transformational breathwork, I've learned that feeling good is not a luxury, it's a practice. And sometimes it's a little messy. This podcast is here to help you trust your intuition, break the rules, the ones that need breaking, and live more fully in your gifts. So give yourself a deep breath, get cozy, and let's dive in. Recently, I saw a review of our podcast, and it called it The Abundant Creative, and I thought that was so clever, and I love it. I love that someone accidentally called it The Abundant Creative, because we are so abundant here today with this beautiful, incredible, courageous, brave group of women that have just been on an epic journey through space and time and into their inner space, meeting themselves exactly as they are, perfect and whole. And I was just reading us a poem, and I want to read it to you guys as well. So here it goes. Morning finds us softer. Breath has rinsed the noise from our ribs, and something true rises, unhurried, like light through curtains. We sit together in the afterglow of oxygen and honesty, and the rolls loosen, resting in our laps, quiet, human, allowed. Lillian knows how to begin again, even after fire, rebuilding home from the inside, teaching dreams to root in the body and bloom in community. Paige listens with a kind of love that steadies the room until presence becomes simple, until connection feels like a place to drink. Meghan speaks in beauty, making spaces that hold a woman gently, where light feels like care and tenderness feels intentional. Robyn carries story in her bones, a voice trained for truth, calling courage forward with joy on its face. Karaleigh brings color back to the bold, to the body, song and texture and shimmer, a reminder that expression is life moving through us. And Julie writes wonder with a brave little tilt, opening secret doors, handing wings to the parts of us that almost stopped believing. Melody plants poems like seeds, self-love close enough to practice,
soft enough to live in, powerful enough to change a whole day. Janelle returns us to rhythm, to earth under our feet, to movement that feels like home in the skin. Claudia names inner abundance out loud, loosening the old spell of self-doubt, placing confidence back into our hands like it always belonged there. And here we are, women in the morning, breathing, remembering, leaving with our lives more luminous and our souls more visible as we step into the day. So, welcome, ladies. I'm so curious and interested in hearing about your experience with your body, with your emotions, with your realizations, with your breath, with the music, with spirit, with God, sharing what that was like for you.
Every now and then I start my morning by pulling a card from a tarot deck. And this morning I used Untamed Elemental. And for the first time ever, the card that I pulled was wind. And when you read about that card, it talks about breath work. That is the entirety of the card. And it felt so appropriate that I started my day with breath work with this group, because that's not something I don't think I've ever done in the morning. And you ask how I feel. Well, I haven't slept well since the full moon. And how I feel is restored. I feel rested. And it's amazing how doing something active that we usually do passively can make you feel rested. So that was my takeaway, that sometimes you have to take a step in order to relax.
I feel like I could see the page in the poetry book of you expressing that. I'm like, that's gonna be in here somewhere. Just what you shared is like maybe there's a chapter about wind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
So
Okay.
thank you. I really needed that.
You're so welcome. What a gift it is to hear you articulate that and to be changed by your share.
I may cry. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Sari. After the primal scream part, I could feel a lot more space in my body. And what came through really powerfully for me was during the Shavasana, you said a rainforest of unconditional love and envision yourself there. And my grandmother for me was that person of unconditional love. I pictured her with me there, and right away, your song changed to Spanish. She only speaks Spanish. Lately, she's been coming through for me. And her message for me today was, you don't have to try so hard. Just be. Be with your people, be with your clients, be with your groups. You don't have to try so hard.
Mhm.
It was a beautiful, freeing moment for me. So
I love that.
thank you for that.
Oh, yes. I feel like that's the constant reminder that we need. I feel like that's such a huge aspect of why we're here today is to remember that we don't have to try so hard and that we can just sit together and that's enough.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for that. And thank you for sharing about your grandmother because that brought tears to my eyes. So beautiful. So aligned. So amazing how spirit comes in and orchestrates all of this for us.
It
Any,
really is.
That was just really incredible and beautiful. You have the most soothing voice to be a giver in this way. So it was really incredible. I think I told you before we started, I've never actually done Reiki, but I've done a lot of other things before. It was more than I ever would have expected. I appreciate you inviting me in to do this. It was connecting, it was soothing. I feel at peace and calm and invigorated to be the woman that I'm meant to be and keep giving more to the world. And I wish I could do this every day.
You can. Yeah, I have been on a streak of giving myself breathwork every morning for a full hour. So you can. Thank you, Megan, for being brave and jumping in. I am so honored and appreciative that you came here and
Thank you.
participated. I love you.
I've done this a few times with you, and I always find myself fighting to stay present. I'm a constant multitasker. I was striving today to stay present and just do this. And
Yeah.
for the most part, I was successful. And it was very beautiful to just be and to experience. I did tear up and I did have a lot of insights, of moments of clarity and beauty, of like all of the 100,000 things that are going on, and the ways in which life is hard. Like, it is supposed to be hard, and it's supposed to be beautiful, and it's supposed to be all the things all at once. And that's a lot of the ways in which growth comes in, and allowing myself to step back and see it from a greater perspective, which is what this allows us to do, is really powerful. So thank you. It was beautiful.
You're so capable. And so it is hard to, I know that's one of the things I've been intentionally bringing over the past couple years, the energy inward, and then that being the power. And I feel like that's where you're consolidating yourself today too, is even just a few moments of that presence with the breath, I think can just drop everything into alignment for you. It's amazing, even if we just touch into 1, 2, 3 moments of that emotion or of that alignment or of that pure presence. Sometimes that's enough.
I actually really relate to what Karaleigh just said. I also was trying to focus and be present and be in the moment. My body just felt the need to move. I was dancing and stretching, breathing, and then dancing, stretching, breathing. It was kind of chaotic, to be honest, but also wonderful. And the primal scream part was so interesting because my initial feeling was like, oh, I really don't need this today. I'm good. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll do like a small sound. All right, I'll do a little more. And then I got the pillow and it was like, ooh, that vibration in your body from just letting out whatever weird sound wants to come out felt so beautiful and healing. I loved that part. It was so great for me.
Amazing. I love that you listen to the body. And yes, maybe it was chaotic, but also there's a method to the madness, and that you just trusted what the body needed and went with it. And every time, as you know, is completely different. So next time you might find yourself being really still and noticing a more inward experience, but today it needed to be more expressed in the body and more outward, and trusting that. And I think it's amazing and incredible that you let yourself have the catharsis, the wonder and the awe of what can come out when we just go for it and we're like, ah, fuck it, whatever, I'll just do it. And the instrument that you are, that you felt that vibration fully vibrating out of you, and how amazing that felt. You're a storyteller. It can become so much about what's the story and why, and what's the backstory to this. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter. And that's why we can have 10 years of therapy in one breathwork session, because we get right into loosening it out of the body without having to figure any of it out. So amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of your shares. I'm so grateful to hear how that was for you. It's good feedback. It also helps you to hear your experience out loud, and then it helps the other people, even if they didn't share, especially if they didn't share, because they get to see what the variations of this can be. Lillian Cohanzad is the author of the We Natal Guided Journal, Manifesting the Family of Your Dreams, a transformational mindset coach and community builder. She is dedicated to helping women reconnect with the truest parts of themselves during life's biggest transitions. She leads women's circles, retreats, and community-based experiences that blend the science with the woo. Through neuroscience, nervous system healing, movement, breathwork, soulful reflection, and embodiment practices, her work supports mothers and modern women in remembering who they are, expanding what's possible, and living from deeper alignment to manifest the life of their dreams. And this year, she deepened her commitment to her own healing and to her community after the Palisades fire took her town. She now lives in Santa Monica with her husband and 3 children. So you can find her at Lillian Cohanzad on Instagram. Paige Appel is a psycho-spiritual counselor. circle facilitator and relational guide devoted to helping others return to presence, connection, and soulful inner guidance. Lillian has the dark hair, and we're back to Paige is at Paige Appel or at Riverbank_. And then Meghan Blum is a creative director, interior designer, and founder of Meghan Blum Interiors and House of Blum. She's also the host of Boulevard Beat, where design meets culture and meaningful conversation, deeply inspired by beauty in all of its forms. Meghan is passionate about creating spaces and a world that feels more beautiful, thoughtful, and connected. You can find her at Meghan Blum Interiors. Robyn Cohen holds a BFA from the Juilliard School and an MFA from the Shakespeare Theater Company in DC. She's been acting professionally for 33 years in theater, film, and television, opposite such artists as Bill Murray, Cate Blanchett, Jeff Goldblum. She's been training actors for 20 years and is the founder of the Cohen Acting Studio, where she coaches artists and public speakers across all mediums. Robyn is the happy host of Thriving Artist, the Daily Joyride with Robyn Cohen podcast, which I have been so lucky to be on. And I'm sure you guys will love checking it out. At Robyn Cohen Acting Studio is her Instagram. Karaleigh Garrison is an actress, singer, and costume designer specializing in expressive performance and creative visual design. You can find her at Karaleigh.Garrison. And then we have Julie Restivo is a writer and director who delights in crafting heartfelt, imaginative, and slightly offbeat stories, most recently with the short film Walter, which made a splash at the Big Apple Film Festival, and the upcoming paranormal romance Girl with Wings taking flight with Della Corte Press in 2027. You can find her at Julie Restivo Writes. Melody Godfred is an author, poet, and speaker devoted to inspiring people to love themselves and manifest their dreams. Her books include Self-Love Poetry for Thinkers and Feelers and Moon Garden, Poetry for Manifestation. Side note, Melody's books are freaking medicine, guys. Please order them at Melody Godfred on Instagram. And then Janelle Fitzpatrick is a leadership coach, mother, and movement and yoga guide who helps people reconnect with themselves through community and nature. You can find her at Janelle Fitzpatrick Coaching. Claudia Noriega Bernstein, inner abundance coach, helping women break free from self-doubt to embrace confidence, abundance, and personal power. You can find her at Claudia_Noriega_Bernstein. This will be in the show notes, their Instagrams. Paige, I am so curious for you as we look at reclaiming the woman beneath the roles, reclaiming softness, intuition, and power. From your vantage point of the world, from you, through your zone of genius, through your expertise and all the roles that you've played in your life, what are you feeling present to in this moment? What realization is coming through after the breath work for you about reclaiming the woman beneath the roles?
I feel really whole in my life right now. I feel really present to what is and really in my sovereignty and in agency, and also really spacious and embodied and available for flow state, for whatever that looks like. And doing a lot of inner and healing work, and through the psychospiritual lens, which I work in, which is both the human and the sacred, I have found a lot of freedom in detachment and like loosening ego and loosening identity, and finding that all of our souls are working on our behalf. There's a remembering, really. There's a reclamation in just honoring that whatever your karmic contract is in this life, it is for your betterment. So even in the suffering, even in the striving, even in the roles that we play, they're all Maya. They're all an illusion for our evolution. And so with that embrace, for me, embracing and not resisting whatever the stickiness is that comes, I have found really deep presence and embrace for all of me, all of it.
First of all, I love the fact that you just claimed that you are here in it, like fully arrived in it. And your voice just shows that. I'm curious for the people that are listening that might feel like they come in and out of feeling that reclamation.
Mm-hmm.
When can you think perhaps of a time recently where you just felt lost in the roles or lost in the expectations or lost in the unavailable, whatever that was, that struggle was for you, the stickiness, like you say? And what helped? What did you remember? What practice did you use? What realization popped in for you to come back to your center and your knowing and your truth?
It's funny because what I call evolutionary work, which some people may call healing work, wellness, spiritual, psychological, all of this is a framework. It's language for our evolution and for our wholeness. When I get stuck or I get trapped in the stickiness of the human experience, right, which we're all here in a body struggling against certain forces that take us into contraction, whatever that looks like for each person.
Yeah.
When I get caught there, I really embrace the shadow or whatever that is, wherever darkness is showing itself inside, outside, that's reflecting something inside that needs to purify, needs to awaken. A lot of people in our society today talk about this language of gratitude or shunting to find the glimmer. For me, that never resonated. That is so toxic to me. I need to go into the darkness. I need to go into my work in this life is to really find the gift of the light. So for me, I really like to frame it as a brutal gift. Reclamation is a brutal gift. It's not just a gift, it's a painful awakening. And in that, I think you can find the joy with the grief, and you can find even the sliver of sadness in the joy. And
Yes.
through all of that, the practice for me is non-resistance. Not resisting anything that is showing up that feels sticky, dark, ugly about myself, about humanity, about my husband, about a friendship, about whatever it might be, a client. It's looking at where I'm in resistance to what is. Like that spiritual notion of the path of least resistance is really not something we want to honor today because of all the complications with humanity where we're meant to fight. We're meant to be in this warrior for justice and for peace and for harmony and for reclamation. It has become a practice of non-resistance and stepping into what part of my soul wants to meet this and alchemize
Yeah.
for the personal, and hopefully that has some effect on the collective.
Yeah. I so relate to everything you just shared, Paige, and thank you for your clarity and your honesty and your authenticity and your vulnerability and your boldness. It's chilling and it's tingling up my spine, the truth of the words that you speak. And it's interesting because you filter through, I don't want the BS positivity. I don't want to spiritually bypass. I want to be in it and alchemize it and feel it and know it and not resist it and accept it and embrace it and mine it. And I think that's where we are too as a collective, and it's harder for some than others. I had a really fascinating conversation with Lillian when I interviewed her the other day, and we talked about the fact that I, like you, Paige, tend to go into the shadow work, and that Lillian feels more comfortable in the lighter. And I'm speaking for her because she said this on the podcast. So, but
I know Lillian and we know each other well.
right. So I just
We
naturally
chat about shadow and light, right, Paige?
Yeah.
So I naturally want to come to you, Lillian, and continue this line of thought. Where do you go with this?
Oh boy. Paige and I have been in circle together for like 3 years. And it's funny because my conditioning, my go-to, my innate personality is one that it's like, oh, this shitty thing happened, but I'm so grateful that I'm still alive. I don't hate on that girl. I love her and I am grateful for her. And as I've gotten older and as life has gotten harder and harder, and this year with what happened with the fires, I was thrown really deeply into a dark space. even to the point that I got a corneal ulcer that blinded me in one eye at one point this year. And so I was like, okay, all right, God, I hear you. I need to sit in this darkness and explore it. And I'm still there. I'm a neophyte in terms of delving into the shadow. But what I'm discovering is that there's actually a pleasure in the shadow. There's a part of me that likes how sad I was. It's hard to explain, but it's like those hard feelings that I go to, whether it's grief or irritability or whatever it might be, there's a part of me that's going there because I'm getting something from it too. You know, I had it in this bucket of, well, I want to feel good. So these are the good feelings, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what I'm finding is that it's all the same. There's actually richness and beauty and pleasure and texture to immense heartbreak and grief and all the shittiness. And it's not quote unquote bad, it's just a deep human experience. And that has made me less judgmental of myself, less critical when I go to those places within myself, and honestly, less judgmental of other people too. Because we all are having this experience.
I'm loving listening to you, and I appreciate the honesty once again because, I mean, what the fuck? Like, let's just be real because I'm sick of these podcasts or panels or book, whatever, all the information that's like, yeah, we've heard it all before. Can we just be real? And I think that Paige started us out so perfectly with the realness, and then Lillian, you followed suit. And for me, I find it so easy to go into the shadow that I almost wonder if I turn the narrative of what's happening into something worse. Whereas the people who see with the rose-colored glasses, they turn the story into something beautiful. And I want to come to Robyn next because she's a perfect example of someone who turns everything into gold, all the pain and all the shit. And so, Lillian, I just honor your process because it's so brave for us to stand out here on the limb and say, here's where I'm at with my personal work in reclaiming who I am as a soul and reclaiming myself in the face of all of the roles and expectations of a business owner, an entrepreneur, a mother, a wife, a circle leader, a nurturer, all the things, all the masks we wear. And so thank you for that. And so Robyn, I know you were on the podcast years ago talking about the death of your brother. And I know that has had a completely profound effect on how you live your life. That you live in a way that is as if today is your last day, carpe diem. So take what Paige and Lillian shared and keep going, would you?
It's really spokes on the same wheel. It's the exact conversation. And first of all, thank you, Siri, for the breathwork session. And also, Paige, what you were talking about all of me combined with Siri, when you are facilitating and you give us permission to do it how we feel it, that we don't have to get it right for whatever reason today. And maybe it's because I'm in my sister's childhood bedroom where there's a Tony Tiger that's twice my size. I took that for true. And like you, Karaleigh, I was not prepared. And Julie, I was not prepared to sit there. My body wanted to cry and move and shake. And so I grabbed my fiance, who didn't know what was happening, but he's here with me in Maryland. And I said, can we go outside? And we went outside, and he knows that you're in my ear and he knows and loves you. And I started healing to the woods and skipping. We skipped around this neighborhood. I don't know what my parents' friends are going to think now because they've seen me skipping and shouting to the trees for like 15 minutes. Two things about that.
Now I might have to go do that. Okay.
Oh, powerful. Skipping. It's not all so serious. I don't have to get this breathwork session right with Siri this morning. Just RSVP to the invitation to do it how you feel it. With the stuffed animal in the room, go with that flow. And also the all of me page, there's an exercise we do. I teach actors. And one of the things we do before we do anything, first of all, we breathe. And I use the techniques and practices, Siri, that you've brought into those classes. We first breathe because when you're talking about acting, you're talking about adrenaline, people getting really nervous and upset. And if you're talking about adrenaline, you're talking about the central nervous system. And if you're talking about the central nervous system, you're talking about the breath. So we do these exercises, and it has to do with bringing in the whole breath of you, the breath of you, and the breath of you. And we do these things and we go, all of me. And we get the shame and the grief, and we say, all of we, and we touch our bodies, and we just get like, we're bringing the entire corporal being, mind, body, spirit, to the floor. It's going to be in our bodies, whatever it is. We're not leaving anything behind. No part of us is left out or left behind. And from there, we can begin.
Link arms and we can skip in the street.
And we can skip in the street. God willing. And that changed everything. And just to briefly about my brother.
Yeah.
This year has started out with a couple of funerals from people that I've been very close to. And so I've been in the space of life and death right at the top of the new year through today, and sitting Shiva and sitting with people and feeling everyone everywhere all the time here on earth and not. And yeah, Adam, I'm alive because of Adam. I did a session recently with someone who reads your past lives. We talked about Adam being the reason that I'm alive today and with the possibility of thriving today, with his death and his prayer and his blessing to me that I have joy. That was it. And the last words on his lips before he died being, I'm lucky. That was the last thing he said before, at 38 years old with 2 little girls, he passed. And if he can feel the luck and the love swirling through his body in those moments before transcending, I knew I had my work cut out for me to understand what he meant by that. So thank you for the invitation to your podcast to talk about that, Siri, and the continued invitation. You are a soul sister and a guiding light that speaks to me through Adam all the time. So thank you,
Oh
and
my
all you
God.
wonderful women. Thank you.
Oh, Robyn. Well, every time you share, you change me. So thank you for that. I would like to go to Melody, and just feel free to continue the conversation from your perspective of reclaiming yourself beneath the roles.
Lillian, you said something about discovering the icky feelings actually can feel really good. A feeling that I've become more comfortable with lately is rage. And that's something that I always thought was off the table. Like, you're just not allowed to not be okay with everything that's happening to you. And especially as a mother, taking on that role was such an abrupt ending of my childhood and introduction into my adulthood by fire. I had premature twins. They were 6 weeks early. I was only 30 years old. I didn't know up from down. And while it was happening, I wasn't able to experience the grief of it, of losing who I was, my freedom, my faith that the world is an easy, safe space. All of that got ripped away. And I was just so busy surviving that I really leaned into the find the gratitude and be happy and be hopeful. And lately, I feel like I'm revisiting through the quiet in my mind and finding the old feelings and embracing them and feeling them and screaming them. And it's liberating. It's liberating to give myself access to the entirety of who I am, not just today, but all those old versions of me, all the cataloged feelings, they're all still there. And for me, one of my trauma responses is to forget. My memory for so many chunks of my life feels as though it has dissolved away. And yet, when I give myself permission to go back and actually feel and think about what I went through, it's kind of delicious. And it's so beautiful to be able to experience it now as a woman in my 40s, without the shame or guilt or fear that may have been a roadblock to those emotions in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm in a phase of yes and. In Moon Garden, I write about a rose and how a rose has a thorn and a thorn has a rose. And my pain and my pleasure need to learn how to coexist for me to be my fullest expression. And that has been my work. And what's really beautiful about it is in reclaiming those unwanted, undesirable, hidden feelings, I think I've actually deepened and brought more honesty to the other feelings. So the joy that I feel now isn't this trite, superficial, instant gratification joy. It's this deep, primal, connected to everyone and everything kind of joy. And with that, and this is, I think, really important when it comes to reclaiming your womanhood, I have reclaimed pleasure as something that I have put at the forefront of my life. Pleasure, play. Yesterday, I had this deep meditation with myself about if I'm not feeling playful, if I'm not playing, then what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
Like, it doesn't need to be so serious. It doesn't need to be so heavy, even though the world right now requires us to pay attention. And like Paige said, lean into the resistance and not to just surrender and be like, oh, I'm just going to pay attention to the easy stuff. Again, back to the idea of yes. And yes, there is so much happening right now that needs our immediate attention and action. And yes, I'm going to approach those things with a level of playfulness and fluidity and pleasure first. Because if I am in a state of suffering and crisis, then I'm stagnant. And when I am stagnant, I'm of no use to anybody.
Beautifully put. I keep thinking of, and I've shared this reference before, the movie Inside Out and the ball, right, of the emotions, and how they were originally, joy was trying to keep all the balls gold and then keep sadness away. And then she realized through the course of the movie that they need to coexist, and how beautiful the sadness and the joy mix together, and how that is. And then there's the embarrassment and the shame. And the other piece is so interesting as you were speaking, Melody, as I was thinking about how the body holds a score and how those moments of not remembering, I relate to that. And our body remembers every single, like you said, cataloged it. It's all cataloged in there. And because our body remembers every story that it's ever perceived things to be, we don't have to actually, we can talk about it. We can talk about it's great. But also, we can just do what we just did just today, and we can just let ourselves feel it and release it. And I love that you talked about rage, because I think even just saying the word rage is evocative.
Yeah, I read somewhere recently that the difference between anger and rage is that anger is a response to a stimulus. Rage is when you are so full that you're going to spill over. And that to me was really a powerful way to recognize that when I feel rage, it's not because I'm having a reaction to something that isn't appropriate. Like, wow, why am I so angry about someone leaving the light on in the bathroom? Which,
Yeah.
no, it's actually because I feel responsible for the security of my family in every single waking moment. And a light being left on is indicative of, oh, well, that's going to push our electricity bill up and it's going to go into the next tier. And then every year it's getting more expensive. And how am I going to help my kids survive for the rest of their lives? And so that's the rage of it. It's not about a light switch. It's about my container being too full. And that's when movement and breath work and circle and all of these different modalities are ways for me to take what I am carrying alone and release it out. And then the rage goes away, not because I'm toxic positivity pretending it doesn't exist, but because I'm actually processing it and sharing it and relieving myself of the pressure that is so often self-imposed.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so much we could unpack. You're all so incredible. Janelle, I know you had to pop out for a second for an interview. Thank you for being present with us here, you magical being.
Oh, thank you for holding space for us to be super present, super dropped in. I did hop off, but I felt like it was such a good setup for authenticity and just showing up as who I am only willing to show up as. It's like there was a line in the sand drawn at some point over the last couple weeks, couple months, decade, where I kept trying to show up more authentically and wondering, why is it so hard to say what I mean and speak up and hold boundaries and not be treated like this and that and do things that I don't want to do, all the things. The experience of being able to drop into myself, and I see the breath as just this great calibrator that can bring us back to those experiences where we were restricted or constricted to feel either joy or rage. There's this contrast opportunity where we're feeling a little bit of joy and then that constriction comes up, and the remembering of why that was and the ancestral constriction or the unspoken constriction, and then these moments where we have the breath and collectively are experiencing a little bit more opening and that calibrated permission to feel and to expand into a wider experience of ourselves and all of us. So I loved that. I hope that my interviewer saw me as valuable to what they're looking for in myself. And that's ultimately what I think we're all looking for, is to be met with acceptance and the willingness to see us for our valuable selves and be reflected back and cooperatively working towards a better future, whatever that is. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I know it's so important to you to be in this type of space, that this is something that's also what you create, what you like to create, what you dream to create more of. So I think it's really special that we're here together. It's so fascinating because you touched upon this subtitle of our podcast, which is expanding our capacity to feel good. And for me, and so many of what has been spoken to, is what you were saying is you feel the joy and then, oh, you kind of, oh, is that safe?
Yeah.
Is the other shoe going to drop? It's fascinating how we're talking about playfulness and not taking it so seriously, and how we can alchemize and embrace all of these aspects. The other thing that's coming to me is just aliveness, because I don't think it is about feeling all the pain and just being in the pain or being in the truth of the pain, or someone just passed and sitting Shiva, or just only being grateful. Yes, I have a gratitude journal every night. I think it is the reason we find the joy in both, and the fear in the joy is because it's all part of that human experience of what is it to be alive? What is it to be alive? What is it to be alive right now as a woman in this moment in time? Julie, you are an incredible, dynamic human that has all sorts of skills. We've met through Reiki. We've learned Akashic record reading together. You're also a creative, a storyteller, a screenwriter, a director. What is your vision, your viewpoint, your lens on this conversation?
I'm loving this conversation. I feel like what's resonating with all of us right now is this idea of embracing the full spectrum of human emotions. And having just been through a dark period that was a short period of time, but it felt so long. Over the break, my kids were off from school and we were going to have a very chill, very relaxing staycation. And then my daughter got sick, and then I got sick. And I had planned to do some work because I'm in the middle of a rewrite of a book. And I couldn't write. It was like a flu, but whatever that flu did to my brain, I could not grasp what I needed to grasp to be able to do the rewrite that I need to do.
Yeah.
And it sent me into this crazy spiral. I felt like I was never going to get out of it. I didn't have the ability to step back and be like, oh, I'm just sick now. I just need to rest and then I'll write later. I could not see that. And I was just stuck in it. And I was like, I'm never going to finish this book. I literally can't do it. I felt like I couldn't do it ever. It just got really dark. There was something kind of liberating in that in a way where I was like, well, what if I don't do it? Like, what if I just say, it's not happening? I'm not going to die. It's going to be okay. I had to let go. I had to trust that even though this is really important to me at this moment, it's not the be all end all. It doesn't define me as a person. And I feel like this really connects with the theme of the roles, because part of my despair was this idea of myself as I'm a writer, and
Yeah, so I was just thinking that it's the identity that had to die potentially. Yeah.
yeah, I just had to not attach to it so much. And I feel like in our capitalist society, we feel the need to define ourselves by our careers. And
Right.
it's so unnatural. I'm so much more than a writer, but that's where I'm trying to get my income from. That's where I'm trying to get my self-esteem from. And that's where I'm trying to fit into the economy and society. And it becomes this much bigger thing than it really should be on a human level. And
So good.
so ultimately, Dark Night of the Soul was, I came out of it, and ultimately I'm in a place now where I can see the perspective of I can write. I don't have to be a writer. That doesn't have to be the thing that makes me valuable or worthy of anything. And
Yeah.
that role doesn't define me.
Yeah, that's such a perfect example of this theme because I think any role that we identify completely with, as we so easily do as humans, is like, that's where I'm going to get my money, or that's where I'm going to get my self-esteem or my validation, or yes. And if it's not working, it's like, I'm a failure as a person, or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So relatable. That is so true. I want to share what you shared with Jake because he's also a screenwriter. Oh my gosh, if we could take the pressure of it being our whole everything, our bread and butter, our identity. And I know you did that recently, Robyn, with acting. Like, I act, but I don't have to identify as this conglomeration of energy and thoughts and expectations of what it means to be an actor.
Yeah.
Same with writer, same with mother, right? Like anything. And then we're in resistance to, like, I'm doing the dishes, and then I'm in resistance to, oh, now I'm a domestic mother. Like, now I'm in resistance to that, as opposed to like, ooh, I could just like be fucking washing a dish and it doesn't have to mean anything.
Mm-hmm. Just to respond to that, Siri, Julie, the moment recently I declared, I'm not an actor, I'm a woman that loves to act, that loves to do a lot of things, right? But the moment I declared that, I had more acting work, wonderful, rich, yummy work come in as an actor than ever before. And I thought that was just sort of like the call of the wild. And I was sniffing out the cosmic beauty of that it was like, yeah, I had been so attached. It was about releasing like attachment to that particular identity. And then it just flowed to me, which was really fascinating. And I feel the same is happening for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Since I came out of that, I have just been in the moment and loving whatever scene I'm working on. And I'm not worried about what it's going to be at the end. I'm just like, it's so cool that I get to make up this story. It's so cool that this is happening to this character right now, and they're experiencing this emotion, and now they're experiencing that emotion. But it's tough when you're in it, when you're in that dark place. It's easy to see the value of it in retrospect.
Yes.
But in the moment, it can feel just like you're drowning. I guess that's the journey, right? Going into it, getting out of it.
Exactly. Yeah. If it comes together, it falls apart. I want to come to you, Claudia, and I want to ask you about, as being an actress that you've been, and also a coach and an author, all these things that you create. You have a podcast, so many roles that you've played in life, in work? What is it to feel the essence of yourself in this moment in time?
So first of all, thank you. I love being with this group of women because it's yummy to listen from everyone and to learn. I'm a sponge. I love to learn. And also, thank you for this opportunity to, in a way, invite every woman that is listening to remember who they were before they were taught to perform, since we're talking about acting, for love. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? To be loved.
Mm-hmm.
Be loved by our kids, by our friends, by our peers. We want that as humans. We need that. So I learned at a very young age that I had to perform for love.
Yeah.
And my acting career happened as an accident. I was walking on the street and a producer saw me, offered me a soap opera. It wasn't like I woke up one day and said, I want to be an actress. And acting taught me that I could perform in my real life. And I became the good girl that my mom wanted me to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that hold a lot of unhappiness, a lot of void, a lot of emptiness, because we learn that we are praised for being agreeable, useful, quiet,
Mm-hmm.
convenient.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand that belonging doesn't demand adjustment. We don't have to adjust ourselves to belong. And this has been for me a journey of healing and unbecoming that version and all those versions, because yes, I wear and I have worn a lot of hats in my life looking for that Claudia that was buried in this person that was performing every day to the world. And I understood that healing wasn't becoming somebody, but more so removing
Yeah.
what wasn't true to myself, what
Mm-hmm.
was not aligned with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I love what Melody was saying about feelings, because last year my word was surrendering. This year, my word is actually two words. Is open to. I am open to be curious, accepting, receiving, becoming. And that had given me permission to not be agreeable, to not be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
to not be convenient sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay,
Yeah.
because my tribe, my true tribe, will embrace that part of
Yeah.
me,
Mm-hmm.
will not feel uncomfortable. And part of that is I don't need to dim my life to make somebody comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to shine. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do all the things that fill my heart, from gratitude to paying forward. And in the process, I am going to notice those parts of me that get triggered,
Yeah.
that are uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that are not feeling truly aligned, and get curious
Yeah.
and be open to see why. Why? And I was actually having a conversation with my stepdaughter yesterday about transitioning, because now she's a mom, and relationships, and should I handle it here or should I be quiet on here? And I said, it's funny because when you are in a relationship, you change a lot because you want to be agreeable. You don't want to be the squeaky wheel. I said, don't make that mistake. Stay always true to yourself. There is all these qualities that made your husband fall in love with you. Don't tame that woman in you to become somebody that you're not, thinking that that's going to make something better. Be that person that you are and be better, of course. Look for that higher self, reach out to that higher self, find that higher self and learn every day. But that essence of who you are, don't lose it.
Yeah. I love
So
that.
that's where I am in this journey, not to lose myself and train myself to become those roles that make it easier for everybody else,
Yeah.
but just to be me.
Don't shrink to fit.
Don't shrink to fit, girl.
Yeah. You've got a workbook with some prompts for us, for the
Yeah,
audience.
yeah, I'll share that.
Yeah, you can Instagram her and she'll send it to you. Claudia, you're such a calming motherly force without needing to try to be. It's just who you've become. And I love that you're guiding your clients and guiding your daughters, and you're still open to. You're still open to. I mean, gosh,
And
right?
that makes me honestly so emotional. And again, Melody, when you're talking about feelings, give yourself permission to be vulnerable.
Yeah,
Being strong is not the opposite. I can be in my masculine energy when I am at work, when I'm doing certain things, but allow yourself to be in your feminine energy. Allow yourself to be emotional. If you see a commercial on TV that touch a nerve, you don't have to explain your feelings or how you feel or why something touches you. You don't have to explain yourself. The same way that you don't have to explain your rage, you don't have to explain your sadness or your vulnerability or your joy, you
yeah,
know?
I
And
love
then
that.
also help yourself. Like I notice sometimes when my dopamine is in the floor, I notice, will notice. So I help myself. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, wait a minute, where is ABBA? I need ABBA right now because those songs really lift me up. And I am gonna help myself and my brain to remember that there is joy in
yeah,
me and bring this joy up.
yeah.
So embrace it.
Let's enjoy our life. Yeah, let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
Karaleigh, I want to hear from you. You beautiful artist.
I'm going to say, and joy is my word of the year. So that was a really great lead in. I've loved this conversation. I'm buzzing off of what everyone is saying. Who was it right before? Was it Robyn was saying? I spent so long thinking I wasn't real. I wasn't a real singer. I wasn't a real actress. I wasn't real enough. So I wasn't successful enough. And when we write our bios for you or for our podcast or for whatever, it's like, wait, am I real enough to write these things in my bio? And this has been such a year of redefining for me. You started with Paige and you asked her for a time when she lost herself. I lost myself for over a decade. I'm just rediscovering myself and finding myself. And a lot of that had to do with motherhood. So, for anyone who doesn't know me, I have three teenagers that are all neurodivergent. One of them is severely autistic and type 1 diabetic. And I got married at 18 and had three kiddos right off the bat. I'm 35 with three teenagers. And so, for the first 14, 15 years of my marriage, it was just hunker down and therapy and kids. And I'm a performer, I'm a singer. I'm just starting to call myself an actress. I'm in the middle of my first leading role where I'm also the costume designer and makeup artist and hairstylist. And it's amazing. And it's everything I've wanted. But I spent so long in all of those years trying to figure out how to, well, make money and care for my kids and make money and care for my kids and do all the things that everyone else needed of me.
Yeah.
And now I'm in this balancing act, which I think is exactly what we have been talking about is how do we love everything that is so amazing and juicy about life which there is so much. I'm looking around me at my destroyed craft room, and there's glitter and beads and sequins, and it's amazing. And I love it. And also, it's so hard. There's so much hard. I scared the crap out of my kids last night when I came up in costume. I'm the narrator of this Frankenstein show, and I'm like a devil clown. And I came up in my full clown ringleader top hat clown makeup and yelled and screamed at my kids because they were killing each other upstairs while I was putting on my clown makeup. And they were sobbing, mostly because of my clown makeup, because I came up in full evil clown makeup and costume and yelled at them because literally they were tearing each other apart. And it was kind of hilarious and also sad at the same time. And it's all of it.
Yeah.
Life right now it's what I dreamed of for so long. Literally a year ago, I had done 0 shows. I was like, I'm in no shows and I dream of doing shows. And how can I possibly be everything that I was meant to be? I'm a seamstress. I'm a makeup artist. I'm a singer. I wish I was an actress, but I'm not really an actress. And now I'm like, oh, actually, I'm kind of an actress and I love it. And now I'm all of the things I wanted to be, but also I'm a mom, and that is something I can't give up. And and now I'm balancing like, oh, I have 6 shows I'm part of before April ends. It's all good and it's all insanity and it's all everything and it's all life. And
It's so inspiring.
We've had this conversation of it's all perspective. It's not about putting on rose-colored glasses and drowning out the voice of the hard, because the hard is there and you know what, it will freaking rear its ugly head and it will show up whether you like to or not. But you get to choose to see the glitter in it. You get to see the good, and you get to recognize the hard, and you get to breathe it out, and you get to sob it out, and you get to go, you know, it's so fucking hard. But also I love it. It can be both. It can be all of it.
Karaleigh, you're so incredible. And I say this every time, but it just needs to be said again. You're so capable and you're so talented and you're such a fantastic human. You are probably the kindest, most generous, most talented human. It's incredible. You're just so inspiring to me. And thank you for doing the hard. And I can only imagine what it's like for what you've gone through. And yet you're still going out there and doing all these shows and being an actor and a singer and a seamstress. It's like, what? It's incredible. And you reminded me of yesterday morning. I woke up to, and I'm so sorry for this image, but I woke up to my dog had diarrhea on the carpet next to my bed. But when we were cleaning it up, it was in the shape of a heart.
We were having this conversation the other day, and my husband was like, it used to shock me because we have 2 dogs that, never ending, like dogs. It's just a thing. And he was like, it used to upset me every time. And he's like, now I'm like, whatever. Like, you just.
I'm like, great. That's where I work out, right there next to my bed. That's my spot. It's no longer my spot.
It's an emotional workout.
But there's a new spot that has opened up, which is actually way better and it's more spacious. So I'm actually seeing the benefit of this.
So thank you to the diarrhea.
Yeah, thank you to the diarrhea. So Meghan, you're an incredible designer. You have a huge company of incredible employees and growing businesswoman. I met you at a retreat, so you also know how to give to yourself something that's nourishing, and we're still getting to know each other. So tell me more.
Yeah, going to that retreat and just life in general of having business and busyness and 3 young kids and life, giving to myself, I think has been something that's been super important to feel into who I am. And some of those things, I've always struggled with those, trying to fit in the box too much or staying small, and learning it's okay to play big and it's okay to dream big. And that's who I've always been. I've been the dreamer. I've been the person that sits at 40,000 feet, and I so much more that I still want to do with my business. But with that also brought some of the struggles that I internally have always struggled with. I had a very normal childhood, of a very normal life, married to my high school sweetheart. Life's like picture perfect. It's great to have a business that's thriving, successful, great team, all those things. But you start to get through all of that, and then you hit a wall and was just like, well, what else is there, and what's next, and who am I? And around 6 years ago, I started to dig deeper into all of that, figuring out who is this little Meghan and who is the big Meghan, and who do I want to be? Am I just okay just continuing on as my business and life, or do I want more? And all of that inner work as a playing all those roles that we've all discussed as a mom, a person yourself, a wife, and a businesswoman. I get purpose out of so much of that. So it's hard to feel like there's one that's just like, this is my purpose. And so I think it's interweaving all of those things into who I am, who I want to be, and who I want to continue growing forward. Continues to grow. I'm figuring that out all the way. Circling back to the very first conversation with Paige, I'm probably more content than I've ever been in living in who I am, the moment that I am, truly embracing the everyday moments of my kid's life. I know they're only little and young once, but feeling content kind of too with where the business is and where I'm growing. That comes with the shedding that has happened over the last few years. That doesn't come with just floating along with life. It really is doing the things that make a difference, the meditation, the journaling, taking time to connect with God and with who I am and the person that I want to be, and surrounding yourself with beautiful women like this, and getting support and not feeling like you have to do it all by yourself either.
Yeah. It's incredible how you can manage a team and you can grow your business so strong, and then you have these three kids and that you're doing so well, and
Thank
you've
you.
got something figured out, Meghan.
Yeah.
So tell us one secret sauce thing that has helped you to have it kind of figured out in this way.
Well, I delegate a lot. And I also have a very, very good support team. It's one of those where it's the smoke and mirrors, where it looks like I'm the one doing it all. But I mean, at home life, my husband's very supportive. He's making dinner and cleaning up dishes and doing that too. So I don't play the only mom role. Up until this last year, when our youngest just went to kindergarten, we've had a nanny for the last 11 years. So just that aspect of stuff. I'm not afraid to hire help for cleaning. I have somebody that runs some errands for me, and just a great team at work of delegating and trusting and being able to just let go of things, that you don't have to do everything yourself, and knowing that the success will happen. And I think that that's probably a little bit of that letting go too. Took a long time of not forcing. And I feel like sometimes I feel like I went through a portion too where it was just like expecting more because I was trying to force so much. And I think going back to kind of what we've all talked about, or what we've learned, or how you get there, is just letting what's going to happen be, and just letting go, and the universe has your back, and just trusting that.
Yeah. Okay, I love this. Just being comfortable with
Yeah.
delegating and comfortable with letting yourself be supported.
Yep.
I think that's so incredibly important.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that we could spend a whole lifetime learning that lesson right there. And so I'm glad that you've mastered that particular outsourcing, because we're not helping anyone by playing the martyr.
No.
So thank you for showing us that. That's beautiful. So, ladies, thank you so much. Paige, thoughts on everything that's been said?
I've loved listening to everyone. Someone said it's all about perspective and how we're each looking through a specific lens through our soul's contract in this life. And so I just love hearing all the different perspectives of the duality, right? Like, we live on a plane of duality. There's never going to not be war. There's never not going to be rage. There's never not going to be hate and dark nights of the soul and all these things. The plane would collapse. We're here on a dualistic plane where they are even. So many have said that it's not greater or worse to have rage or joy or happiness or sadness. They all are there for our evolution. This embrace, the full embrace of it all. And it sounds like everyone's in a different, we're all just in a different body, in a different container, working out kind of the same rub, right? Different frictions and different predicaments that create our container for evolving and how rich it is that we get to sit in this mirroring of each other, this space of identity and language and stuff that we have to, that kind of grounds us, and also what that brings up, like where we might feel inspired by each other and where we might feel activated by each other. It's all grist for the mill.
Yeah, beautiful. Lillian, anything you want to add as last thoughts or revelations or insights or reflections?
Thank you. So much of healing or evolving comes from being witnessed and being reflected back. And so this is really important, what you're doing and what we're all doing. And it's important that we continue to gather and
Mm-hmm.
to witness each other and to
Mm-hmm.
listen. And it's a beautiful practice that can only deepen all of the parts of us. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for saying it's important to gather, because it reminds me, because I did not use a script this time at all, that other than reading the poems and your descriptions. But I do want to remember to say the important thing, which is that I would love for you all to come to the Oregon coast, May 3rd to the 6th. And we're going to do this. We're going to breathe and eat nourishing food and be at the ocean and do some movement and some dancing and shaking it out and speaking our truths and communing and seeing each other. So if anyone's interested, or you know someone that this would serve, please invite them. So Lillian, thank you for saying that. I know you create circles, and we are on the same page with that, that it's so important to do that and to come together. You can just unmute. Let's have a party. We have a few minutes.
It's just been really wonderful to hear all these perspectives, and I'm blown away by the feminine wisdom coming
Mm.
through. It's really beautiful. I've been thinking a lot about what a matriarchy is and the idea that it's not hierarchical like a patriarchy, and that this feels like a prototype for that, where everyone's equal, we're all sharing our truths and where we're at, and it feels really nice. I feel hopeful.
I got a little like warm Reiki energy behind my heart when you said that. I love it. Thank you, Julie.
That reminded
Mm.
me of a bumper sticker that I saw in New Orleans. It's like, what if the hokey pokey was really what it was all about? We're in this circle and we're all just doing our little thing, and that's what it's all about. There's play, there's joy, there's collective action, and that's it.
Yes.
Funny.
It feels so good to commune and talk about the hard, and then also witness each of you in your light and your power. Robyn, you were about to share something.
Just resounding heck yeah, more of this, more of these kinds of room and spaces. And if we don't have a formal invitation, just to keep creating them wherever we be. I think the antidote is waging peace wherever we stand, wherever that might be in the world, just waging peace in every direction. And I'm also just present to the women that came before the women in this room. I'm looking at everybody in this room: Melody, Megan, Claudia, Janelle, Paige, Lillian, Karaleigh, Julie, Siri, and Siri. This is inspired because of your mother's birthday that just happened, and
Oh.
so I'm just on my knees, grateful to the women
Mm.
that created the women, that created the women, that created the women, that created you. That takes my breath away. So thank you, fierce spiritual warriors. It's an honor to be with you all. Thank you.
What an important message,
And
Robyn.
I would like
Yeah.
to add something really
Yes.
fast because of what Robyn said. We're in charge to heal the lineage. It
Hmm.
stops with us.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
it is a huge responsibility, but it's also a huge honor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
True. True.
complete.
Very potent and very true. Okay, I just want to say, dream of the version of you that no longer second guesses old choices, no longer doubts her worth, looks forward to her next lessons because her wisdom deepens so richly. She is fierce yet tender, kind yet boundaried. She is open-hearted and ready to collaborate with incredible souls. She is ready to rise again and again and come home to her deepest knowing, which is no longer masked or veiled or dulled by accommodating in ways that collapse her. When she is weary, she rests. When she is ready, she serves. She decides with courage and knows when to pivot. She has known failure and grief and regret and deep pain, and she has come back to center every time. She is better than she has ever been, even when she is at her worst, because she is alive and human and in her fullness. She is expressed, truthful, and brave. Her love will change you. Her light will illuminate everything. Her soft smile will heal you. This is you, eternal spirit whole. And then Melody, I don't know. Should I just flip to any page?
Yeah, go for it.
I got to read something from her book. Okay, Buck Moon affirmation. With a heart full of gratitude and joy. This is by Melody Godfred. I am emboldened by the Buck Moon, and so I dare. I reclaim trust and release fear. I realize that the unknown used to keep me where I was. Now, the unknown pulls me toward where I need to be. Fear is no longer the barrier. Fear is now the invitation. I trust myself. I trust the universe. Whatever the future holds in store for me, I am brave enough to bloom my way to it. The moon in me leads the way.
Hear, hear.
That was a good pull.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Siri.
Yay, ladies. Bless your hearts, bless your souls, bless your light, bless the work you're doing in the world that infuses every corner of the world because of who you are and how you show up. Thank you for being here. Loving you. Listener, thank you for coming along for the ride. There's no accident that you came along for this ride. So reach out to these women if they inspired you. And I can't wait to see you next time. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good one breath at a time.
Hello, friend. That was such a powerful circle. You just heard women tell the truth about what it's like to come back to themselves beneath the roles. You heard breath soften the nervous system. Sound and movement create space. Shadow and light coexist without apology, and wisdom land in real time through being witnessed. If something in you opened while you were listening, honor it. Let it keep unfolding. And if this episode met you in your body, if you felt the loosening, the exhale, the permission to stop trying so hard, I want to ask you to help this land in more hearts. So share this episode with a friend. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who's carrying too much. Text it to the woman who needs to remember she's not her roles. Post it on your stories and tag me at Siri Baruch Thornton so I can thank you and reshare you. And if you have a few seconds, leave a review. It is one of the biggest ways that you can help this work reach the exact people who need the medicine of breath, truth, being witnessed. And if you're ready to go deeper beyond listening, I have 2 ways I want to highlight for you. You can book a 12-session private transformational breathwork infused with Reiki journey. This is for you if you want real nervous system change, a devoted container, and specific support, the kind of release and clarity you can actually feel in your daily life. Or come to breathwork with me in person on the Oregon coast, May 3rd to the 6th. There's only a few spots left. And we will do exactly what you just heard. We will breathe and we will release and soften and tell the truth and eat nourishing food and move our bodies and come home to ourselves in community and sisterhood. All the details are in the show notes, or you can go to sageandblushwellness.com. I love you. Thank you for being here. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good one breath at a time. And if today's conversation stirred something in you, here are a few ways we can go deeper together. So the Authentic Creative Podcast, where you are now, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss more conversations like this. And if you loved this one, share it with a friend who needs that. One-on-one work for private Reiki, breathwork, Akashic sessions where we can go right into your unique medicine. You can connect with me. Once again, thank you for being here, for listening, for expanding your capacity to feel good alongside me. I'm sending you love, and I can't wait to connect again soon. Loving you.